Hey, food friends. Hope you're all doing awesome out there today. My name is Lee, and thanks for joining me today on Dude Talking Food. Weather's getting cooler here, my foot's totally healed, and I'm back in the kitchen. And this time we're going to do a healthy shakshuka recipe. This is a Middle Eastern and North African dish, and it's made of poached eggs and a spicy tomato pepper gravy. I make this slightly more rustic and less of a gravy in my variation, but let's get this started. To get this dish rolling along, I'm going to use about half an onion, two small peppers, a clove of garlic or two, and four or five very ripe tomatoes. These, along with the spices of cumin and a chili powder of my choice, form the foundation of a traditional shakshuka. I'm also adding in a handful of fresh parsley and cilantro and a small sprig of mint. I just like the additional fresh herb. While I'm chopping up these herbs and veggies, let's talk about this recipe wicked fast. This is pretty simple and it's very flexible. And if you don't like any of the seasonings or you're not a fan of peppers or onions or whatever, you can make this with any other vegetables, herbs, spices really easy. You're just basically poaching eggs in a mixed vegetable and tomato gravy of your choice. So while I'm going to have a recipe in the description for what I'm doing today, this video is also conceptual so that you understand how to poach eggs in any gravy or mixed vegetable dish like this. I've made this recipe with eggplant, mushrooms, zucchini, leeks, whatever I had lying around. You can literally use whatever you like. It's a great way to use up leftover vegetables before you throw them out. It's also a great way to use up leftover tomato sauce if you've got any. You can use fresh tomatoes like I did. You can use canned, diced, crushed, whatever you like. And like I said, if you've got some leftover tomato sauce in the fridge, you can throw that in too. I've got all my prep moved over near my pan on the stove, and we're going to go on a medium heat, and we're going to add 3 or 4 tablespoons of olive oil. You may even find yourself using more as you go on with this one. This is a very heavy olive oil dependent recipe. And once my oil heats up, we're going to add in those peppers and onions. We need to start them first. They got to cook the longest. We're going to stir these around, get them all coated in our olive oil, making sure that the onions and peppers are all separating and not stuck together. We want them to cook evenly. You want to keep these moving every minute or two, and at this stage, we're going to add our salt and pepper. Then we're going to let these saute, stirring every minute or two for about 6 or 7 minutes while they all soften up. Once our onions and peppers start getting softer, we're going to add in our spices. I'm adding about 2 teaspoons of cumin. I'm not a huge fan of cumin, and the traditional recipe is probably about a tablespoon for all this. I'm also going to add about 2 teaspoons of chili powder. And here's where you get to control your heat and flavors a little more. You can use any type of chili powder you like, from paprika, Thai, Tex-Mex. It's all about what you like. I'm using an Indian mild chili powder. It's a lot like paprika, but it's got a little bit more heat and a little more flavor. After we add our spices, we want to dump in most of our chopped herb mix. But we want to save about a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons worth that we want to use at the end. Now we're going to get this moving, get all our herbs and our onions and our peppers and seasonings all mixed up. And we don't want to forget to add our garlic. You can use crushed, minced, sliced, whatever makes you happy, whatever flavor you like. I'm choosing to grate it as I usually do. And after we've put in our garlic, we want to cook this for about 5 or 6 minutes more, stirring it occasionally, just like earlier. After about 6 minutes, maybe a few more depending on your pan and your stove top, you'll see the onions have gone translucent and the overall volume has gone way down. Here's where we're going to add our fresh tomatoes in whatever form we chose. I had fresh ones that I wanted to use up, so I'm adding them in all diced. Then you just want to mix this all up, get it all stirred, and then we want to cover it. We want to retain as much water as possible so that it's saucy and we've got some liquid to poach our eggs in. We're going to cook this for at least 10 minutes more. We're going to stir occasionally, just like earlier. And I'm also going to add about half a cup of water after about 10 minutes or so. You can also use stock if you happen to have some. Water works just fine though. I'm going to let all this simmer and stew for about 10 minutes more, stirring just a couple of times throughout this final process. After about 10 minutes, I'm at the point where I'm personally happy to crack some eggs into this and poach them. If you want to add another quarter cup of water or so, let it cook 15 minutes more so that it's less chunky and a little more saucy. That would be a little more traditional. That's your call. I just love vegetables. I like large pieces of them, and I've always been a rustic cook, even professionally. Now that our eggs are cracked in, we're going to cover this again and let them poach on top. When to take your eggs off is a timing thing. It really depends on your stove, the pan you choose, and a bunch of other variables. But after about 5 or 6 minutes, they should be soft boiled and still have runny yolks. But this part you may just have to do a couple of times to get a feel for your cookware and your stove and the timing of everything. Of course, if you like your eggs harder, you can just let them go for a little while. I'm going to garnish this shakshuka with a huge scoop of Greek yogurt. It really balances out this dish nicely. And then I'm going to add the last of the cilantro, parsley, mint herb mix that we saved from earlier. And now we can dig in. My yolks are nice and runny the way I like it. I really hope you all get to try this. Enjoy, everyone. Thanks for your time, everyone. It really, really means a lot. I hope you enjoyed the recipe and you get to try it. Here's another recipe or some food discussion that may interest you. Please drop a like and comment and subscribe for more. It all really helps get my content out there. Hope you all have an awesome week. Peace.